This is SEON x Rebtel. In this episode, we go to Stockholm to speak to Daniel Martinez as he tells us why data is king and why device fingerprinting is essential when fighting back against the fraudsters.
So my name is Daniel. I work here at Rebtel. I'm the lead of operations, and I've been here for a little while now, since 2011. But now I've settled down as the team lead of this amazing operations team of 4 people. Rebtel has been and always been a company that tries to help what we call migrants, so people that have moved away from their hometown, home country, by providing it a different set of services. We started only providing calling services at first, and year by year added more in order to basically offer the marketplace experience all in one, the corner shop style of service that allows you to basically take care of your loved ones back at home by calling them, topping up their phone numbers, sending them money transfers, and we're adding almost day by day new services to basically offer as many support services that we can provide and find out at the best quality and the best price, ideally, of course. We have 2 founders that in 2006 went on this amazing trip around the world on a boat, and they got confronted to this challenge of getting charged by their operator a month roaming fee. And they were like, how could we avoid this? And they came up with the idea of, in a way, bypassing the direct international calling and generate a local call that then is taken care of and connected by Rebtel at an affordable price. So it all started in the telecom spectrum. And then, the mindset has always been, we need to help migrants, we need to support them with their loved ones. And since then, we've been developing that idea that has brought us to also spin off a company that sits next to us, our sister company, Majority, which is a banking service, taking care of migrants, making sure that they can take care of their loved ones. That has been always the key, and it comes from this funny experience at first, and now we are really trying to be a more accessible service with the best user experience, safest experience, and that has been a bit the trip that we went through. What we've noticed is that people crave for adding more services and not needing to swap between different applications. So we go back to the idea of having one spot, a marketplace that allows you to basically provide the support that you need to provide to your family and friends abroad. And so now we've just added last year money transfers, and that's what brought us to reinforce our anti-fraud efforts around device fingerprint, which is one of the specialties of SEON back then. And we're adding food delivery, and we're adding electricity bill payments very soon. And we're adding as many services that we can find to be able again to support families out there. I think it's the door that it opens when it comes to riskiness of the business. So we went from a fairly traditional fraud targeting telecom business. It's fairly straightforward, can be a bit complex to handle, but that's one thing. But now we are adding financial services overall, and that's another animal to handle. And I think it's really cool to be at the forefront, trying to be at the forefront of fighting fraud and discovering and learning about the field. I've been myself in the fraud area for almost as long as I've worked for Rebtel, now 12 years this year. And now I'm sitting really at the head of the train, trying to define what the company needs to be able to offer that service while not taking too much risk. We're taking as much risk as we can while ensuring the safety of you, the customer, at the end. So that's really exciting. I've always loved my job from day one. I started as a support agent, and now leading what we can call the back office, operations, whatnot. Like it never ends really, which is, I think it's fun to see every day like stuff happening, and it keeps you on the thread a bit, and you're very much alive, I would say, when you work here. You had these calling cards that you needed to scratch to be able to call abroad, and the idea of the founders back then was like, but what about making it more virtual and digitalizing that effort, and on top of that, not taking too much money from the customers, right? Because calling cards, if they have fees and hidden fees, and you start a minute and they charge you 5. I mean, it's quite of an insane scheme that they have there. But it was very, prehistoric way of doing business. And then within like 4 or 5 years, smartphones took over the world, and then we were in the apps world, and that has changed forever the company really. We introduced our own applications to avoid you needing to dial manually from your phone in 2011, end of 2011. So basically I was young and not knowledgeable in what is the role of a back office specialist engineer, so-called. And I noticed this little pattern in our calling business. Back then we were very strongly onto our calling business, to one of our top destinations. And I was like, this looks a bit weird. And then I was trying to raise flags to my team, colleagues, and so on. And they were like, yeah, no, but it's top destination, and so on. Until one day that we started getting those evil chargebacks coming in, and seeing that it matched that top destination that I'm not going to name now, ever again. And basically, I think we had a huge hole, a huge invoice to pay for traffic that was not generated by normal people, but it was basically a fraud ring that had landed on us and managed to get hold of credit cards to make the payments. And it's always the very same story that you hear when it comes to fraud. And yeah, I think it's the time where I realized, okay, shouldn't wait, not let it go. You need to like remind everyone in the company that is not necessarily looking at the same area as you do, and more than flag, shake it in the face of people, saying, here, we need to stop now, address this, because something is not right. So in summary, it's a big invoice that made me realize. So SEON was a Google search. So a bit more than a year ago, we're looking to introducing money transfer as a new service. Money transfer, much higher risk compared to what we deal with here. Bigger amounts, more tempting from a fraud perspective to like come onto your platform and do some damage. So I started browsing for device fingerprinting solutions, and we knew exactly what we wanted. We wanted a device fingerprinting solution, just that. We didn't want machine learning, we didn't want fancy buzzword solutions with like plenty of options, features that end up being a black box and you don't know what's going on. We just needed device fingerprint, and SEON was basically the only service solution that was easily understandable from a presentation perspective, easily accessible from an integration perspective and from a commercial perspective as well, and super affordable for us because it was dedicated to that side of the business, which is brand new. We start from scratch, zero. So the cost efficiency was one of the most important things, together with the feature of being able to run a device fingerprint. The solution is super straightforward. You have like an SDK on the app, you have a JavaScript on the web, you have like this portal where you can configure everything, and the team came up with really a great offer, commercial offer, and I think if you compare it to other solutions, they are much more complicated, much more expensive, and they do stuff that you don't really need at this point. So we're like, yeah, let's go for what makes more sense. And it seems that the team was and still is, of course, very dynamic and like in the startup kind of mood. So we said, like, let's try them out. And the purpose became two. Not only we managed to protect what is the money transfer area, but we also tackled what is an account takeover scenario that was quite sensitive back then. And it took us maybe 3 to 4 months to, finalize how the solution works, find the rules that can allow to identify those guys the best way. And basically very quick, within, I think, 5 to 6 months, where we got rid of the bad guys that were doing account takeover. We had a nice view on what our money transfer users were doing. And then it was, cost efficient, which is super, super important. We meet monthly to review what's up, basically. And we go through the current problems that we have, if we have any. We go through what are the future plans. We go through as well what is upcoming as new features and so on, see where we can fit something new into the portfolio of services that SEON offers us. And I work very closely with Kinga from your team. She's amazing. And we have, of course, an account manager that's called Daniel as well. He is the one leading us now to optimize what is the cost efficiency of the solution and making sure that the needs and the services offered fit. So it's a constant work, not every day, of course, but basically no problems. Whenever there's been a problem, we get a solution immediately. I think it's a relationship that will potentially last quite long, because you have a very good service, again, affordable from our perspective at least, and it's on both sides. The teams are very dynamic in that sense, which is super helpful to get the things going and working it out. We started with SEON again because we wanted to secure our money transfer service, and basically it allowed us to check immediately that we had some guys coming on emulators and stuff that you really don't want to see. So we immediately put blocks, like we were going from zero, and we wanted to keep the emulators up and have them stay at zero. So that was the first thing, the key thing of SEON. And then we introduced SEON into one of our core businesses, which is the mobile top-up service. So that service is basically topping up phone numbers abroad. So you pay an amount and it adds credit on the destination number, or it adds a calling plan on the destination number. And basically we had this fraud ring that had been on us for 3 to 4 years, maybe more, but at least it was noticed 3 years ago. And basically what they were doing is through the web they were able to come in and do the damage that they can do using saved cards and whatnot to do whatever they do. Again, to the same destination that I was referring to without saying the name earlier. And basically it took us maybe between 3 and 6 months to, with SEON, find which rules, which patterns did they develop, and put the blocks. And since then we just got rid of it. On top of that, this allowed us as well to reduce the number of checks that we do, because all of a sudden we secured the different transaction flows, which is like basically the goal that every company should have, is like keeping, of course, the fraudsters at bay, but also allowing us regular users to just continue using the service without a single friction, and not creating that annoying experience in the flow, which is call of churn, of course, bad will, of course, chargebacks as well. So yeah, it's been quite a nice trip so far.